the International Lawyers Network's Marketing Specialty Group, featuring Eric Fletcher, Chief Marketing Officer and Chief Business Development Officer of Liskow and Lewis, presents Building a Firm-Wide Marketing Culture.
Any questions, we'll be taking them during the presentation as we go, and you can type them into the chat box. You should be able to see that in the upper left-hand or upper right-hand corner. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Eric Fletcher. With more than 25 years of experience spanning broadcasting, advertising, marketing, and professional services business development, Eric Fletcher is a seasoned connector of ideas, people, and strategic growth-oriented solutions. For the past dozen years, he has managed and directed teams focused on targeted business development and client service in the legal industry. So we would like to welcome Eric for our presentation.
Thank you, Lindsay. It's great to be with you today, and I really do welcome questions. Would love for this to be more interactive and less of me talking, so please interrupt. Every single legal marketer, and really I could expand that to every professional service marketer that I have known in the last 20 years, feels stretched to the max, feels under-resourced, and wrestles with how to set priorities. And I think all of us intuitively believe if we could impact the culture that we work in, it would be a different day. If we could, if the culture somehow picked up on all that is important about marketing, if we could convey that, we hear it often termed the way the title of the presentation is. If we just could instill a marketing culture in our law firms, it would be a great day. So today, I want to visit with you for a few minutes about 5 ideas that I think can help make that a reality. First of all, a little bit of framework for our discussion. We've already alluded to the fact that we all feel spread thin. Increasingly, there is the more dense the market becomes, the more choices there are in the marketplace. The experience that you deliver really becomes as much of a marketing message as the actual tangible marketing messages that we attempt to create. And then whoa, I just noticed a typo in the slide, Lindsay. When it comes to your team, you may be thinking too small. That's really the theme of the conversation today. Think about your team a little bit differently. In today's professional service arena, specifically in law firms, the proposition is that we're all marketers now. So consider all of your firm's touch points in the marketplace, from clients to all of the vendors that you touch, to allied professionals, the people that you cooperate with, whether it's depending on the kind of law that you practice. It could be accountants, it could be other professional service providers. That list could be very long, but all of the touch points between your law firm and the marketplace, whether those touch points are specifically with targets and clients, or whether they are a little bit more distant, a little bit more removed. Begin thinking about all of those touch points as a place where marketing can take place. Now, next, think about all the multiple channels. If you're involved in social media, this has particular application in today's marketplace, from presence on LinkedIn to blogging to Google+. If you delve into Twitter and Facebook, all of those channels just increase those touch points, and then think in terms of both the conventional and the new media. And then finally, think about how to leverage a team. And we're going to talk in terms of your team being bigger than the people that have marketing on their business card, or the people that work inside the marketing or even the marketing technology group. We're going to suggest that your team is everyone in your law firm that if somebody gets a paycheck from your law firm, then they are, in essence, a part of your team. Back to the previous slide where we suggested that the experience you deliver is really a powerful marketing message. Every single person that represents your firm in the marketplace has the potential of being a part of your marketing team, and if you find a way to leverage that resource, then you're really on the road to relieving that feeling under-resourced. Now, I'm going to play a video, and we've got, through the wonders of my technological expertise, we've got a technical issue, and I don't think you'll be able to hear the sound, but the visual tells a little bit of the story. What do we do when we exist in a marketplace where we can wake up today and things halfway around the world can impact our reality, and we can wake up and find ourselves being circled by unfriendly sharks? The penguins have an answer there. This is if you Google teamwork, funny teamwork video, you might be able to find this. I've forgotten although the video may show us the advertiser. It's created as an advertisement by a European group, I believe. And the whole idea, of course, is just as a team, we can, yes, there you saw the advertiser. As a team, if we come together in a common mission, we can defeat even foreboding enemies like this. Maybe you can hear a little bit of the audio that's playing on my computer. So anyway, the idea is to leverage all of our resources. This is not rocket science. We all know this. If we find a way to pull everyone in our groups together, then we can accomplish things that we can't accomplish on our own. That's the premise for today's discussion. So here are the 5 keys. First of all, ignore the silos that exist in your firm. Secondly, be personal, not virtual. Number 3, deflect credit. And we'll have some fun with that one. The 4th one, instigate a cultural narrative for both your group and your firm. When I say your group, I'm assuming that you're working with some type of team. And then finally, start with why. The first one, ignore the silos. You can't do everything that you need to do without the assistance of every one of those verticals that exist within your firm, whether it's the financial group or the technology folks, HR, if you have knowledge management people in the library, every single person in that administrative team especially is critical to me being able to do my job as a marketer. I need the finance folks because they have access to data and information that I simply don't have access to on a daily basis. Technology, it's clear. We need their assistance in a number of ways, and I won't go through all that, but that should be, if you have questions about that, I think that's pretty obvious that we can't accomplish our work without those groups. So I tell my team, don't come into me making an excuse, well, technology didn't get me what I needed, or finance didn't get me what I needed, or it's some other group's problem. Your job as a marketer inside an organization like one of our law firms is to figure out a way to build the bridges, tear down the silos. Those people have to be your partners and your resources. And if we can't begin there, then we've got real problems. The second thing, avoid the blame game. Throwing anyone under the bus is just not acceptable. in a marketing organization, in my view. If you don't walk in and tell me you don't have the information because finance didn't give you the data that you needed, throwing anybody else under the bus doesn't work if you want to build up a marketing culture. And then finally, both inside and outside of the marketing organization, you want to focus on ignoring the silos. So if you happen to work in one of these marketing organizations that has multiple verticals within it, maybe a marketing technology group, maybe a marketing operations group, and then marketing communications. Some law firms have a distinctly defined sales group. All of those things, all of those verticals may help us in terms of management. They may facilitate better management and daily processes. They take away from integration, and if you allow them to become silos, they're going to damage your marketing, the marketing culture of your firm. And then, of course, outside your marketing organization, again, I already alluded to, in fact, I'm a bit of a heretic because I've been known to suggest that we shouldn't even have a marketing department. We shouldn't have a technology group. We're all in this together, and we should all be one big happy group. And there are practical issues with that, I recognize. But in terms of building a culture, that's the way we want to think. Ignore the silos. This is a video that I won't be able to narrate for you, so we'll skip through it pretty quickly. But John Ellett is the CEO of a startup, a technology company in Austin, Texas. He also wrote as the author of a little book called the CMO Manifesto. And if you're in marketing, if you lead a marketing team, I recommend you read Ellett's The CMO Manifesto. It's not written from a law firm's perspective, but is very helpful in terms of talking about how to break down silos and deal with a 360-degree or a more holistic view of the organization. Further on to that discussion, 4 ways that leaders solve problems. This is from a recent article on Forbes.com, and you'll notice the second one is break down silos. In fact, really all 4 of these, I think, refer or relate to the silo issue. If you've got a solid foundation, if you're building on a solid strategy, then the silos, there is a mechanism there to deal with silos. Clearly, communication, transparency is essential if you want to break down silos. And then, of course, hiring the right kind of people, the old Jim Collins thing of get the right people on the bus. If you hire people who are more concerned about protecting their turf, silos are going to be tough to tear down. And that, of course, speaks specifically to the marketing team. I recognize most of us don't have hiring authority in other groups. So ignore the silos is the first key. Key number 2, be personal, not virtual. And the more technology becomes a part of our daily existence, the more we lean on technology to make us more productive, the more we use all of the tools that are at our fingertips, thanks to technology in particular, the more tempted we are to almost become virtual. In my view, this is a real problem for us. Trying to decide whether we won't be able to. I'll let the first part of this video roll, and you'll get the idea. This is a little bit of texting going on. Let me see what that first text is. An invitation. And the response is, I have class. And the misunderstanding that arises out of the phrase, I have class, one interpretation being, you're saying I don't have any class, and of course the intent was talk about an obligation in the classroom. Just illustrative of what can happen in virtual communications, and this is not news, every one of you know this. I encourage my teams, I encourage the people that I work with, if you need to communicate with someone down the hall or upstairs or a couple of floors away, or even if you need to communicate with someone in another city and you know you're going to be there in a couple of days and time isn't critical, communicate face-to-face when you have a chance, people. It is a disappearing art, and we all know that texting, emailing, all of the virtual communications we have are essential. They're critical. I use them extensively, but they don't carry any of the tone. They don't carry any of the subtleties, and they often infer sarcasm where no sarcasm was intended. You know all of the issues there. Be personal whenever you have an opportunity to do that. A phone call oftentimes is much, much preferable, much better than an email if you have the opportunity. MBWA market by walking around. See people face to face. Focus on solutions instead of problems. This is much of our thinking, and especially inside law firms, when you add a layer of technological communication on top of the environment in which we work, oftentimes we find ourselves focusing on the problems, the issues. Why didn't this happen? Why isn't our technology, or why isn't our email blast? Why doesn't it look differently? Why can't we do X, Y, and Z? And often those of us in marketing are tempted to respond to those queries with all of the problems, all of the reasons. Well, our database doesn't work that way. Our email program doesn't function that way. Rather, focus on solutions. That will help you be more personal. Invent ways to collaborate with the people you work with. You can read these slides. You don't need me to do that. The last point, when you are looking for ways to collaborate, when you're trying to engage with people on your team and outside your team, in the rest of the throughout the rest of the administrative group in your law firm especially, don't just go to them when you're asking for help, but go to them seeking input, seeking their advice, seeking their counsel, seeking their collaboration in the creation of a solution, and that changes the game considerably. That's just all part of personal communication. Key number 3, deflect credit. And I won't, this is a very short video, and in essence, one guy's taking credit for cleaning the room when the work was done by the other individual in the frame. There is enormous power in a team environment in learning how to deflect credit, let other people take the credit. Administrative assistants, you know this. Administrative assistants are the best friends we have in a law firm. Give them credit when they make things happen for you. This is especially true, of course, with CRM programs, things that we need to function as initiatives in the law firm, but we need other people to be central to the execution. Find ways to give them credit. Team leaders at this point, I'm talking about lawyer team leaders, so client teams and industry teams, however, practice group teams, however you divide those up. So many times I think we are so concerned about proving our worth, and when I say we, I'm talking about marketers here. We're so concerned with proving our worth that we look for ways to say, hey, we did that, marketing pulled that off, we pulled together this experience database, isn't it cool? that much of the time, that conversation just sounds like blah, 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 blah to the people that we most need engaged in the process for us. So instead of saying, didn't marketing do a great job on that particular initiative, wow, we could not, nothing could have happened in our experience, in the creation of our experience database without attorneys really participating, playing. You guys made that work. Find a way to give technology credit, give them credit for stuff they don't even deserve credit for. You need technology to be your partner, and if you find ways to give them credit, again, we subscribe to business development research tools, and we want to be sure that our clients, the lawyers, understand that we were instrumental in pulling together all of this data and all of this information, and pat technology on the back. You know what? Technology helped us install a tool that aggregates all of this research, gives us a way to take a look at it, analyze it quickly. Again, I don't want to belabor the point, but you get the idea. Give credit to all of these groups, from the attorneys through the other administrative groups, and then finally, especially finance. Key number 4, create a cultural narrative. This is, and I'm going to try not to make this convoluted. We'll talk about 2 very briefly. Your team needs a cultural narrative. And then, of course, our job as marketers, if we're doing the job that we hope to do, we're creating a cultural narrative for the law firms that we represent, that we work with. So it's internal and it's external. Internal in terms of inside the team, and then inside the law firm, and then outside in the marketplace. The culture really is about having a language and a tone that focuses on solutions. This is what we go to our lawyers and suggest they should be talking to clients and targets about, right? Talk to your clients and your targets about solutions. The same applies to us. Our conversation, our tone with every person we interact with within the firm needs to be one that focuses on solutions and that underscores the idea of team. This really builds on deflecting credit, giving credit to other people in the law firm. These are critical points to developing a cultural narrative. If this becomes the way you talk, it pretty soon becomes the way you think, especially for those of you who are leading marketing teams. They're going to look to you, for an example, and if they hear you talking about solutions, if they hear you giving other groups credit in the creation of solutions, they're going to pick up on that pretty quickly. The right narrative does this. It helps tear down the silos that we talked about. It cultivates an organizational integration. Again, law firms, multi-practice firms, especially multi-jurisdictional firms, firms that have multiple offices, fight this battle. The challenge of integrating, how do we do it? A lingua franca, a language of the group, is one of the things that helps cultivate integration on an ongoing basis. The right narrative understands finance and business, and this sometimes is where we fall short as marketers. We need to understand the language of, in professional service arenas, they call it the language of the C-suite. We need to understand the language of the CFO or the financial director. We need to understand the language of the executive director. And in so doing, make our conversation devoid of the marketing jargon that sometimes characterizes the way we speak. All of that focuses on a very tangible thing having to do with narrative, and the narrative is much more intangible than tangible oftentimes, but the language that we use is critical. So key number 5, the last key to creating a culture of marketing. This one, I wrestle with the way this is described, but I use it this way for a purpose and for a reason, and you'll see. Start with why. The first video, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates from several years ago, and I wish you could hear this one because Jobs talks about the essential nature of passion. And he calls it passion. Some people call it mission. This gentleman, Simon Sinek, who wrote the book Start With Why, calls it why. Why do we do what we do? And his quote on the left side of the screen, this is your warning. And in essence, he says, and as law firms tell me if this doesn't ring true, there's always someone right around the corner who can do things just as well as you can, just as well as your firm can, for the same price or maybe a little bit cheaper, and in the same time frame or maybe a little bit faster. And the challenge in an environment where that is the case, and that certainly is the case in law, the challenge is how do we differentiate ourselves? Sinek says that people don't so much buy what we do as they buy why we do it. And why we do what we do is what gives shape and form and real definition to the things that we do. Very few books, and I can't do it justice, so I'm going to stop trying. Very few books have shaped the way I think about what we do and the way I think about what the way we try to work both inside the law firm and outside the law firm. As Sinek's books Start With Why, I highly recommend it. It is chock full of cases, examples, illustrations that help bring this, at least for me, help bring this idea to life. And in fact, I've got 15 copies sitting on a shelf behind me, and I pass them out somewhat indiscriminately to the lawyers that I work with if I think that it will resonate at all. Starting with why, in every internal interaction means that we avoid a focus on what or how. A few minutes ago, I was talking about so many times we talk about problems as opposed to solutions. That is, our tendency to talk about problems grows out of the tendency, the very natural tendency to talk about what we do and how we do it. We send our email blasts this way. They generate these kind of responses. The functionality works this way. That's how we tend to, or we want you to be involved in CRM, and we focus on what it is. We've got this big thing that's going to capture all the data. Here's how it does it. Here's all you have to do. All of that is conversation about what. And that's not to suggest that we can eliminate that conversation. This is to suggest that we begin the conversation with why we do it. So that means, in essence, and this is Communication 101, we all know this, identify goals and aspirations and build our narrative at that spot. So what if our communication, rather than beginning with what we do, and how systems work. What if it went something like this? We know that our job is to enhance the value and the integrity of the law firm's brand and to do everything possible to facilitate connections between our lawyers and the people that can hire them. If that is why we're interested in CRM, and we build the case beginning with why, it changes the discussion. Instead of focusing on this great new whatever the initiative might be. One final video that I won't play because we won't be able to hear any of that. The CMO of Mashable, Stacy, is very articulate, and she just underscores the idea that in today's marketplace, whatever service or product we are trying to sell, the focus will more and more be on mission. That is what that's what the millennials care about. That's what the new buying public cares about. And I'd submit to you that that is the conversation that will work within your organization. Begin with why. Begin with why when you talk to your marketing team. Begin with why when you talk to the lawyers about things that you want them to buy into. So that's it, Lindsay. 5 keys to a marketing culture. First of all, destroy. I'd go a bit further than just ignore. Destroy the silos. Get rid of them. They don't serve any purpose when you want to think about a culture. And if I'll take a momentary tangent and just say, if you doubt that, if you're in a law firm where there are multiple offices, think about the struggle between one office having an identity and another office having an identity, and think just think for a second whether that really contributes to a cohesive marketing culture for the whole firm. Destroy the silos. Be personal. Look for opportunities to meet face-to-face, to have literal conversations instead of email or texting with both team members and colleagues in the firm. Look for opportunities to increase high touch instead of high tech factors. Third, deflect the credit. Give credit to other people. Look, we're never going to win if we believe we have to market ourselves. That's counterintuitive for marketers, I know, but in 25 plus years now in doing this, I know very few marketers that over the long haul are able to continually claim credit and maintain any credibility, so why even worry with it? Deflect the credit, give it to other people. Instigate a cultural narrative throughout both your marketing team and your firm. We as marketers, we should be helping to define the conversations that are, the language that our firm uses and the conversations in which we engage. Don't make it a big initiative. Do it in the way, first by example, in the way that you communicate with your team and with your lawyers, and watch it seep into the culture of the firm, and eventually turn everyone in your firm. If there's a cultural narrative, then your firm begins to talk about your firm. And what better marketing tool than a law firm full of people who are out in the marketplace talking about the place they work and they believe in. And finally, start it all with why. Again, Sinek's book and his premise, people don't buy so much what you do, they buy why you do it. And if that is compelling, if why you do it is transparent and compelling, then what you do tends to be differentiated in the marketplace. Open for any questions, comments. Anybody wants to push back? I'd love I'd love for you to test any and all of that. And if not, I would love to continue the conversation on Twitter. There's information on at the bottom of the screen. My handle on Twitter is really difficult, Eric Fletcher. On LinkedIn, it's the same. And I'd sure love for you to engage with me on the blog, Marketing Brain Fodder.
Thanks so much, Eric. I don't have any questions, except one of our participants would like you to just go back a couple of slides. She wants to copy down the quote that you had up there.
Yeah, that'll be a real trick. I wonder if I can do that. Let's see. The Senate quote?
Maybe the start, yeah.
Start
there
with why?
Perfect. Yep, that's the one.
Excellent.
So we'll just give that a moment. Thank you again. This was great. I think everyone found it valuable, and we really appreciate you taking the time to share your expertise with us. And I invite everybody to connect with Eric on LinkedIn, on his blog, on Twitter, as he shared with us before. And Eric, if you could circulate, if you share the slide deck with me as well, I'll circulate that with the recording when I share that with everybody. Great, thank you so much. That would be great.
I will.
And perfect. Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody, and thanks again, Eric. And this has been, as I said before, the International Lawyers Network's quarterly marketing webinar, and we look forward to speaking with you all again soon. Thanks again.